Hello. Let me swap the music and that's fine. So welcome. Welcome to Automat Live Coding. This is the stream where we write this tool right here. This is Automat. And it is a game automation app. In this app, you get access to this large board and a bunch of toys that you can drag and drop and tell them to do different things. Like a macro recorder that I just dropped, it can be used to record macros. And here, it just recorded a macro. I can play it back and it's going to move my mouse. Like, my hands are here, my mouse is moving by itself. I can create a loop like that. Yeah. The point of Automat is to automate annoying games, or especially, maybe not annoying games. Like, every game, even good game, typically has some time-wasting elements, and the point of Automat is to automate them. So this is what it's doing. There is a new feature, new capability in Automat. So Automat knew how to pass control using those cables. Here, there is a new type of connection now. It is this gear. This gear can be used to synchronize the state of two objects. So here we have a pair of switches which are synchronized. I can add a timer. I will set it to half a second, and I can synchronize it with one of the switches. Now, when I turn on the switch, it's going to activate the timer, but when the timer finishes, it's going to deactivate all of the other switches. So all of those objects, they act as if they were a single object now. And I could hook this up to more objects as well. For instance, I could have a macro that's going to record for half a second. Yeah, and it stopped recording after half a second. Another half a second. Another half a second. Simple stuff. Very interesting, very interesting. Something didn't quite work right here, but it's not a big issue. Today, I would like to improve the way that those connections work. I would like to make it possible to drag those gears and connect them to bigger gears. Essentially, I want to be able to disconnect those gears by just dragging them. Right now they do not react to mouse clicks. Only the central gear can be dragged. And this is going to be a challenge doubly so, because I'm also trying to use my handheld keyboard, which I'm still not super proficient at using this. I just made the test. My best result this morning is 25 words per minute. So it's about half as fast as a typical person types on mobile. So it's really bad. Try a test. Ah. What happened right there was macro. I have some macros that can very quickly type some specific sequences of keys, like automat. Auto? There we go. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. one is going to be terrible. $21. Not that bad, actually. Typing on this keyboard is tricky, especially because I am trying not to type by mashing the keys. I'm trying to type by rolling the fingers. The keyboard layout on this is specially optimized for rolling motions, so I'm trying to not do this. It works, but it's actually a very slow way to type. A much better way to type is do something like that. Right up. Like basically, typing a single key on this layout should be enough to type pretty much type a letter. It's tricky because I need to remember which finger can be released between each pair of letters. I've been practicing this a lot, especially for typing punctuation. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I will fire up editor. And we'll see how it goes. One thing that this keyboard encourages is the typing with a much more active use of the mouse. So normally when you type on the keyboard, you try to minimize your usage of mouse. You try to keep your fingers on the home row and just type. With this, it's like, actually, I have my hand kind of pretty much, my hand can be free because this is kind of strapped to a glove, but I can constantly use my mouse while typing. So all sorts of motion, like cursor motion, is actually easier done with mouse. Anyway, I want to have some drag and drop for my connections. So I think here I am going to want to see how I am doing the dragging of the other type of connection. There is this connection here. There is a special piece of code that handles this dragging. Yeah, I want to see how it works. I think this was in UI connection widget, exactly. some update endpoints. Shall we just pick drag connection action? Okay, this is what I want to replicate. I want to have something similar to this, but for my sync connections. Ideally, there should be code reuse between them. Okay, I'm grabbing this pointer.position within root board minus grab offset. And this is the position where I So this is the position within the kind of connection where I grabbing this widget. I'm using matrices because the connections can be scaled up and down, and this makes them kind of work consistently even when this happens. So theoretically this scale should not be necessary, but okay, whatever. It looks like this is a tiny class. I think creating a copy is not going to be a big issue. Visit options, this is what I'm looking for. Sync option. I'm actually following the code that is activated when I open the bubble menu on top of an object. When I do this, I have this state and sync. I want to see what happens here. Because I think I want to get rid of this red line. I want to replace this red line with this object here. With this gear. When I trigger sync, I want this gear to be grabbed by mouse. Sync action. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so there is some kind of sync widget here. And this sync widget is actually almost empty. There is nothing here. Huh. What does it have? It has a start position and end position. Those are the endpoints for the line. It's being drawn here. And this is kind of similar to what we have here. We have gear origin and end. Those are two positions. This is like start and end. I think instead of this sync widget, I should access this sync connection widget instead. This goes away. And I think this action should not own this sync widget. What is happening here? Seems like this toy is not used for anything. but sync connection widget should be tracked with a tracked pointer. Something like that. Here we are not going to return anything, I think. Okay, in terms of names, I think some of them should be renamed. I think this should be called origin shape. Should be called origin. And this one could be I guess gear origin is not that bad. Gear origin is actually fine. So when I am dragging this sync connection widget, gear origin is not going to have any meaning. How is this used? some things could be improved. I think we could reduce the size of textures here. They don't need to cover the whole gear. Oh yes, yes, yes. So I am using this gear origin, but it's just an intermediate value. What I really want is I want this value. It's called start here. But this is just a point on screen. Sometimes it can be computed from the gear, using the direction and the center of the gear, but sometimes it could be computed explicitly. And I think we need to store this explicitly. I think I should forget about this whole gear origin thingy. Instead, I should store the because this connection tracks the center of this gear. I think it should track the center of its own end gear and just update it continuously. And we could animate it. How is this thing called? I need to find a good name. This is important. This is important. Like in programming, names are what makes the project readable or not. We need a good name for this small gear. Minion. Minion. Yes! This is perfect. I think this is what it is. This is a pinion. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted. So we will store the origin of the belt. This is where the belt starts. So this is where. Now, it broke a lot of things, but that's good. That's great, actually. I actually think that this pinion is going to have two positions, or maybe a position and velocity. Yeah, because it has to be animated, right? When I drop it, it needs to snap where it should be. Instead of start, I do not want to have start anymore. And we will have pinion. It's not animated in any way, not yet.
Jasper 459 just followed on Twitch.
Hey, thanks for the follow. I have chased myself into a corner because this direction and pinion position needs both those values. Maybe I can fix this, something like that. I'm just afraid So this is going to work, at least when the gear is connected. But when it's disconnected, the control flow is not going to flow to this. This is going to be left uninitialized. I think only needed here. I actually think we can return pinion and origin here and update the pinion position here. Okay, so when I'm asking this belt, where are the anchors for the texture, I will always return those two positions, but I will only update them depending on, in a different way, depending on whether the belt is connected to a gear or not. So this is a free-floating belt. So this is, what do I call this? Pinion held by the mouse. And this is this else branch. This is what it's handling. Small thing. This direction. I think I can just replace this with neon and it's going to work. Start. I do not have start anymore. There is just this pinion. I see that this is in 3 different places. I'll ignore it. Okay, this gear shape, I think we may not need it. But I will do this slightly in a second. It's making the texture larger than it should be. I think it can be a couple pixels smaller. It's a small change, very small one. Okay. Okay, plumbing, just the plumbing is left. So, blah, 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 start. Start local. Shape center. Yeah, I think this should be the origin. And this should be pinion. Yes. We will animate this better. Now it's very crude. It will just stick to the mouse position. This is actually just syncable table. It's not quite. Not quite everything. I think I can just create a proper syncable here. I think I need to cast this into an object. Yes, now we have a proper syncable. It is the parent here. Figure out who is the parent. Should be the board. I know what's the parent. That should be the board. How do I get a reference to board from here? The only widget I have is the pointer. Okay, I am storing this root widget somewhere. Board is not the root child. Okay, this is just root widget. Gives me a reference. I don't think it's a good idea to pass weak pointers through into functions or out of functions. They should just be used for storage. I should pass references. And this is working, so I'm not going to change it now. And that should be Pinion. Okay, let's see if this works. I broke so many things. It's like that. It's always like that. Things get broken. It's impossible, to break some eggs to make an omelette or something like that. Okay, this seems to work. We try to synchronize a new one. Nope, we do not see anything. Yep. They work together nicely. Oh yeah, when I remove synchronization, we start getting funny glitches. Oh. They're not synchronized anymore. Funny things are happening with this gear. Oh. This is our... So there is a system within Automat that tries to make sure that the animation is smooth. And when the texture is out of date, it's a super old texture, it tries to deform the texture to follow the new object positions. So it assumes that, hey, this object, this belt, it has some rendering issues. It's not being re-rendered, but its endpoints, they are moving around. So I need to move stretch the texture to compensate the, animation issues. And it works. We get a very funny shaped object. I can fix the synchronization, yeah, and now it's going to work again. Okay, why don't I see anything? When I call this sync action, I am definitely getting a reference to this connection and passing it into sync action. And sync action I think instead of this weak pointer, so theoretically I do not need this weak pointer here even, because this sync widget has the reference to the object, it has the reference to the part of the object that has to be synchronized. This is not what's causing the problem. The problem is caused by something else. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh no, this here I'm looking for the widget of the owner. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about this action. And action, theoretically, shouldn't depend on the interface. I mean, needs to animate the interface, but it should be possible to execute this action in a headless fashion with this being empty. I was thinking I should remove this, but now I'm thinking maybe I should remove this part. I can always use these toys, find the widget. I think the rendering issue is actually caused by issues during tick. If we do not find gear, we say that the animation is finished. Not correct. think I can get rid of this bounds variable. This rectangle. No idea what's the radius. Secondary gear radius. Oh yeah. Millimeters. So this should be 6. Sweet. This is what I want. That's how I'm finding the pinion position if the gear is connected. If the gear is not connected, the pinion position can stay whatever it was. And this is actually wrong. It should not be animating constantly. Apparently there are more things that can be synchronized there. Ah. Yeah, I can move them. When it comes to the size of this thing, I think I need to increase it by some amplitude. This is interesting. It's 2.2. Okay. The issue that we have right now is that when I call this sync, I am updating the pinion position, but because the cable is still connected to this gear, it's not actually catching up. So it's still, even though when I move my mouse, on every animation frame, it is resetting the position back to the gear, because gear is still there. I think the right solution would probably be to disconnect it instantly when I activate the option. Here, basically. This should work. There we go. Cool. Now, I think those widgets, they should kind of disappear when they are not connected to anything. It's not great to have them all the time visible. Take so much space. So they should hide somehow. Could retract in a similar way to this. This is a cool one, because this is a duration. Duration can also be synchronized to something. Running. Yeah. Timer has a lot of connections. The things can be synchronized here. They cannot all be visible at once. They must be hidden. It's just too much gears all over the place. This is my draw function. It is always going to draw something. So this tiny struct is the per object storage. So I am, for each object that can be syncable, it is adding 24 bytes. 16 of those is a reference to the gear. This is just a pointer to the gear. Ink. I think this should be reduced to 8. It's always a gear. You can even see object is always empty here for this end. I want to change this into a regular weak pointer. Doesn't have to be nested. Is this default on connect? Shouldn't just be interface table. Should be gear. I see. So I need to check if this end... It's pointing to a gear. There are probably some issues here. I will ignore them for now. Okay. Should work now. some errors. That's good. It was concerning how smoothly everything went. Should just be lock. I removed, I just saved 8 bytes in one place. By doing this simple change. And there is one bug here. This state needs to be derived from element state, exactly. So this adds 8 bytes again, but fixes a bug, so that's good. So in Automat, every argument can track the last activity time. The gear PPR. So in the end, I didn't really save much memory, but I fixed a bug and I guess simplified it a little. And I was doing this because I think I was actually thinking I will have to store coordinates here, but it's not a good place for coordinates. Yeah, things work. Very nice. think this should be called gear weak, actually. Yeah. I need to distinguish somehow a state where pinion is at coordinate 0 and when there is no pinion. Yeah, I need to know when a pointer is holding this thing here. The way I did it here is that I had an optional position, optional manual position. And there are actually two things I want to do. I want to animate the pinion. I want to have pinion velocity. And I want the pinion to follow its desired position with some nice curve, accelerating and stopping when it should. thinking that I will do this, but first I will do a break. And normally I do very fast lunches, but not this time. I want to grab some decent food. So I will do a break in the stream and be back in, I don't know, 2 hours or so. So see you soon. We will add the animation basically later today. So see you around.